It is the after show here inside of the Phoenix Convention Center. It's the Bostonian versus the book. Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault. We're very happy to be joined now by Warren Sharp. Warren, you do so many cool things. I'm not sure what title to call you with what you've been doing, whether it be sports grade, football analysis, Warren Sharp analysis. What do you do? How do you describe what you do every day?
I analyze the sport. I mean, I'm looking at every edge and angle for use for betting, for use for talking to people in the media, and at times for helping with different coaches or teams as I'm consulting. So I wear many hats, but all of it ends up being rooted in just trying to understand the game better and trying to understand who's going to have success, especially in the Super Bowl. There's a lot of interesting nuggets.
I wear the hats on the show.
I know.
You got the mustache corner.
That's just,
forget about it.
I keep that market and I'll just stay in my lane.
You own it. Just, it's perfect. You don't need any more hats. Hold up for the people that are going to watch the show. What's in your left hand with that piece of, this is not one piece of paper, people. This is a basic book that Warren's walking around with of all the analysis of the stuff. So when he's talking about looking at stuff, you're looking at stuff. But, like, what's the key matchup in the Super Bowl for you? I always ask people, you know, from being in the book, it's what's the best unit on the field, but what is the key matchup? Is it the Kansas City defense against the Philly running game? Is it the Kansas City offense against the Philly defense? What is your key matchup in this football game?
I think, to me, there are problems. Every team in this, well, obviously there's only two teams, but every unit in this game has deficiencies that have not really been exposed that much because of the strength of schedule that they've played.
Wow.
Even though both of these are #1 seeds, there are issues with both of these teams. But the one side of the ball and the team that I think has the most problems is actually the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Whoa.
And that's because of the way that they have splits. For example, if you try to throw the ball 10-plus yards down the field, they're the #1 pass defense. If you throw the ball within 1 to 9 air yards, they rank slightly below average. If you throw the ball between 1.5 and 2.5 seconds, like a quick time to throw, you're getting the ball out quick, they're well below average defensively. If you're down inside of the red zone and you're using multi-tight end sets like 12 or 13 personnel, they're a bottom 3 defense. So there are ways that you can attack this defense that will give them significantly more problems. We know that they didn't play a very difficult schedule. None of that is factored into the analysis that I'm sharing. When you factor that in as another layer, it's even more concerning. Another example, the Philadelphia Eagles have like one of the best defenses in general, like big picture. Zoom out, one of the best defenses in the league. But then you start looking at things like what percentage of drives against this team made it down into the red zone. And you'll see that they're actually slightly below average. They're like 19th.
Wow.
And then when a team gets into the red zone, what percentage of drives are they scoring touchdowns? They rank 21st. And that's against this easy schedule that they've played. The wild thing to me is that a lot of those deficiencies I talked about short passes, quick passes, these are using 12, 13 personnel inside the red zone. The Chiefs don't have to change anything.
Well, here's my question on that then. This defense has 4 guys with 11 sacks or more. We haven't seen that before. Does it all come down to the pass rush? They have to get to Mahomes to win this game?
I think they have to get to Mahomes, and that's where Andy Reid and Mahomes, they have a better offensive line than they did against Tampa 2019. And they're better suited to get rid of the ball than they were then. You know, think about this Chiefs team back with Tyreek Hill, which was last year, the year before that, etc. They were a deep strike, hold on the football, try to go down the field, big play type offense. And when a defense pressured them and disrupted that, they didn't have the answer, how to throw short, how to mix things up. Now, that's all they are. They're an underneath passing team. They've majored in this. They are actually, it sounds crazy to think, they are more efficient offensively this year without Tyreek Hill than they were with Tyreek Hill.
The receiving injuries concern you at all for that efficiency?
I mean, it would be foolish to say no, but I don't think it's that substantial as long as those guys can play 3/4 of the game, you know, the full game if possible. Like, I think Kadarius Toney is going to be okay, but the problem with him is one route and he could be down again. Like that guy is just prone to that, unfortunately. And then you look at Juju. I think he's going to be up. I think that's been a nagging knee issue. He'll get it drained. He'll get it shot up. He'll be okay to play. Hopefully he doesn't go out injured. But you got Kelsey. You got a couple of their bodies out there that know the offense and know what they're supposed to do, know their role, so to speak. Like the Rock said, I think they're going to be totally fine from that respect. The key is going to be, like, this is not, in my opinion, going to be a Pacheco, hey, at least the Eagles have a bad run defense. We can balance ourselves and go run if the pass rush is getting to us. I think the Eagles' run defense is going to surprise some people. The stuff that the Eagles do defensively against the run, since they've gotten those additional bodies along the line, they are very good at stopping the types of runs, such as the inside zone, outside zone, and counter-heavy run offense like the Chiefs. They're very good at stopping the specific types of runs that the Chiefs like to deploy. So I think Pacheco may not have a lot of involvement on the ground. They're probably going to, they need to balance it up. They need to give him the ball. But this is a Mahomes game. This is a Patrick Mahomes game. If he's on, if they can't get the pressure, if he gets the ball out quickly enough, the Chiefs are going to be tough to stop offensively.
So all of that leads me to my question about the total. The total in the game is going up. It's 51. Looking at it like that, are we looking at a more likely over game or under game? We had a bunch of people on today. Not one said the over. They think this game's going under.
I love to hear that.
You like over?
Yeah. Well, I'm not on the full game over, but I did like the first half over when it was at 24.
Right.
And I know that flies into face of natural convention when it comes to talking about the Super Bowl, because it starts off low scoring. Always bet first half to see less points than the second half. Always bet no score in the first 6.5 minutes. All of these types of things. But these two teams historically get out quick, they get out strong. That's what the Eagles have done all year long. And think about it from this perspective. You've got Patrick Mahomes dealing with an ankle injury, Jalen Hurts dealing with the shoulder injury, all these receivers dealing with injuries. I think that they would be most likely to be 100% in that first half rather than the second half. So I don't want as much exposure, even though the game could snowball to the full game. I'd rather attack the first half angles.
That goes into the Eagles' #1 first half scoring offense in the NFL, so that would make sense. Do you think they get off to as fast of a start as they have in the past? Because while we've picked apart the Eagles' defense, the Chiefs' defense can be had as well.
They can be had. I think the biggest decision that could impact the outcome of this game is the style of defense that Steve Spagnuolo looks to deploy, because they traditionally play mostly zone, but they're still about like middle of the pack in terms of percentage of zone. And I don't think man's going to work too well here. But if they play cover 2 zone, I think Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are going to have success. If they actually switch to a little bit more cover 3 type approach, it allows them to bring an extra defender down into the box to help. And Jalen Hurts really struggles against single high safeties. Really struggles with the report. I break it down how he struggles against single high. But the Chiefs don't play a lot of single high. They play a lot of cover 2, which is 2 high safety. They play some cover 4 and 6 as well. All of those are 2 high safety looks. I think this game on that side of the ball comes down to what Steve Spagnuolo looks to deploy. I think this Chiefs defense is feistier than people think. They're going to get knocked off the ball a little bit. I think the Eagles are going to be able to run the football. That is like one of the biggest things that I have the most conviction.
Who's going to run it, though, for them? That's the question.
A lot of guys.
A lot
of guys. But I think Miles Sanders, like a lot of people love the other backs. I mean, if Miles doesn't get banged up, what's there to rest him for? He's the guy in the first half that's really rolling, and it comes to the second half when they're up, and no team is led at halftime by more points than the Eagles. So they end up getting these other guys involved at that point in time.
Any prop bets that if you're talking about dinking and dunking, would you say that Kelsey over receptions or completions for Mahomes would be good prop bets?
I've looked at both of those. I haven't actually bet either, but I mean, that's the line of thought process that I have from the game perspective. I do like the Miles Sanders rushing yards over. I took that earlier. I took his first half rushing yards over. I took him to have the most rushing yards in the game. I also like Patrick Mahomes to have over 3.5 rushing attempts.
Wow.
Kneel downs count. But even if you don't have that, I think there's going to be opportunities with him dropping back so much to scramble a little bit. And the Eagles, I think, rank 30th in the league against quarterback scramble. So I don't expect a lot early. But you get in the second half of this game, like I believe both quarterbacks are going to be protective of their injuries early.
Okay.
But in terms of not running a ton. Like, I would be shocked if the Eagles don't try to come out and introduce enough Jalen Hurts on the ground to make the Chiefs respect it, but don't go overboard because they need him healthy for all 4 quarters.
Right.
It's in the third and fourth quarter that you might see these quarterbacks, like with Patrick Mahomes, if the game is tight, he's not going to be running around a lot in the first quarter of this game. He needs to save his ankle for the fourth quarter. But when you get to that fourth quarter and there's an opportunity to run, that he is going to take it at that point.
Last one for me, sir. You got this report. You're always doing this stuff. Where does Warren Sharp watch the game? Like, where are you going to watch the Super Bowl? You ain't going to be in a stand somewhere, some box.
No.
Like, how do you do all this? You got the family, you get the kids, and all this. Where do you watch the Super Bowl?
Well, watching it is easy. I watch it in my theater room, so that's easy. I've got the side TVs up there, plus the big TV in the middle, and the side TVs. I tell this to people on Twitter like once a year. Just remind you, if you have more than one TV in your room, don't watch a different channel on the second TV. Don't turn the second TV off. Put that second TV on. Press pause on the DVR. Wait 3 seconds. Press play. And now you got instant replay all game long. Whenever you want instant replay for the game, you got it on your main screen in real time. And then you can always look over at the side TV and you could see the play 3 seconds later. After you're done watching it here, you can rewatch it there a split second later. Obviously, you keep the sound off on the second TV.
Right.
It's a great way to...
Unless you want to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. So it's a great way to get instant replay. Hey, was it what defense were they playing?
Right.
Or you know, did this guy get hurt? Like, what did the center do there? Like, you can watch all those things like back real time by pausing it a few seconds. So that's the way I like to watch the Super Bowl. I stay in my cave with all my screens working on the report for 8 days. Then I come out to the Super Bowl, talk to people, and then I go back and
back to the cave.
Isolate.
Yeah. All right. So lastly, what's the best football food? You got to eat something while you're watching the game on this big screen. What is the go-to food for you?
Man, I haven't even actually thought about the food yet. I definitely have had questions.
Wife's taking care of the food.
I'm sure I'll
What's your
talk to her
preference,
about
though?
it.
What's your preference?
I don't know. One year we did like this massive Mexican spread. It was delicious. Every year is a little bit different. I have no thought to it yet. Like, I focus so much on this. I finish it the last second. I take the jet, get out here.
Because this year we have a pretty good food. If you want to go the Philly cheesesteak and the KC barbecue route,
we starting that.
You can do that. I mean, I'm just saying, menu-wise, you can do pretty. It's two really good food cities.
One year when it was the Steelers and Roethlisberger, we did Ben Roethlisberger's.
Okay,
see,
we did something like that. But I haven't thought about the Philly cheesesteak, Kansas City barbecue. But the kids like barbecue, so maybe that's something we can do.
A little brisket.
Have to find whatever we do. We're most of the time we're not cooking it ourselves.
Right.
Like, gotta get it catered or brought in.
Yeah, that's the way you
Warren, give people information if they want to sign up for your service, and how can they get in touch with you? How can they watch what you do?
Well, head over to sharpfootballanalysis.com. You can get this report. It's 73 pages and all of my prop bets and all my other bets, but this will make you smarter and give you some nuggets to talk about at that Super Bowl party if you're having one that other people don't know about. And you can find me over at Sports Grid. I'll do a show on Super Bowl Sunday. I'll be on for like 15 minutes. I don't know the exact time yet, but I'll be on there. So
very cool.
Ringer gambling show. I do that as well. So
excellent.
Ringer for podcast, Sports Grid for TV, and Sharp Football for my written stuff.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys for having me.
More to come live from the Super Bowl. It's BVB.